Welcome to the Mr. Universe Meets podcast. In association with the Mansformation Programme, my Mansformation Programme is growing every year and helping more and more busy men to take control of their fitness, their physique and their energy levels so they can show up each day as the best version of themselves. On this podcast, we're going to speak to peak performers who have reached the very top of their field. We're going to look at their mindset, habits and routines that have made them elite, and I want you to take advantage of the lessons they teach so you can go and achieve your own goals faster. I would love it if you could like, share and subscribe and enjoy the podcast. All right, so Mr. Universe Meets. This time we are with Paul Mort, who was one of my first mentors. Literally the first guy I ever did business coaching with. And I started by, it's funny, it goes full circle because the reason that I found you was because of the first podcast that you did, which I don't think, it was before the Paul Mort Talk Shit one. It was
So it would have been either the Daily Diesel or the Paul Mort podcast.
I think it was
where I had people like Gary V on.
Yeah. And your book reviews and all that.
Yeah, shit, mate. 2014, 15, 16.
They were
that.
brilliant though. That was the first time I'd really been exposed to like self-development and stuff like that, and I was just like, literally, I was like, what is this shit? And it's fucking brilliant.
There was hardly any podcasts then either.
Yeah,
there was hardly any around. I mean, that podcast was like #1 in the UK, it was above like BBC and that. It was mad.
Yeah,
I didn't know what I was doing.
I remember being gutted when you said you were cancelling. You had some great people on there, didn't you?
I did have, mate. I had some mad. I can't remember most of them because that period of my life is a blur.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's it. I mean, obviously it started with the podcast, and then I think I was subscribed to you. Is it Marketing Muscle? Or whatever?
Oh yeah,
I've still got the ring binders.
The MMIC.
Yeah.
Mate, that business model was amazing. I've thought about starting something like that again.
Yeah.
But that's how I met people like James Smith and that. That's how they ended up in the thing. Yeah, that was a game changer for me.
Yeah, I remember you speaking about when you were coaching with James Smith and doing the emails and stuff like that. And obviously I did a bit of a one-to-one business coaching with you. Again, you were actually my program now. It's called the Mansformation.
Oh shit! Come on,
that's what you give me.
Come on.
I remember sat in the other office, not this.
Oh,
one,
Fritzl's basement.
Yeah. So we sat in the other office. I did like a day with you, or half a day, something with you, and we were hatching out this online program that I was going to do. And I was like, I don't know what to call it. And I think you had a program at the time called the Mansformation.
I just shut that down last year, funnily enough.
Yeah. So, and he said, just use Mansformation because it can't get picked up by algorithms and stuff like this. And
it's also cool, man. It's
really
cool,
name.
man.
I've been running with that since 2018.
That was like a famous program for me. That was kind of my signature program. And then I had one called the Womansformation. And then it just became like the 90-day transformation or something. And then I didn't get lost. I just watered it down a little bit. Now I'm back into the men thing.
Yeah. So, I say one of the things that I think you sent over was when you got like the welcome pack with one of the million things that I bought off you over the years. And it was a little band and it said, do what you said you would. And that was one of them things that was just like super simple and effective, but really, really powerful. And that saying, you're still using it now. I see the poster out there with it, right? It resonates with a lot of people, doesn't it? Because I think we think about doing things, but
it does, mate. And I suppose I interviewed a girl on Monday and I gave her the job in the interview. So we interviewed a girl and I was just impressed. She'd read my book. She was quoting like LinkedIn posts and that. So it was blowing smoke at my arse, right? So that's always a win for me. And then Leslie and Kath, who's not here today, they'll be dealing with that mainly because it's down here and I'm upstairs and I'm around. And they were like, oh, we'll get back to you. We've got a couple of people we need to talk to. We'll have a meeting about you and email you if you. I was like, do you want the job? Yes or no? But part of the thing that we talked about was she said, I've got this thing called. She said, I love the saying, do what you said you would do. And I was like, actually, it's quite annoying. Being the guy that said do what you said you would do and buying into that mantra is quite annoying because you become a man of your word, right? Which is great. Because the more you do what you said you would do, the more you trust yourself, the more your self-worth goes up, the more your personal power goes up, the more people trust you, the more your wife will trust you to make the stupid decisions that I make. People, how'd you get your wife on board with that decision? I'm like, because you trust me. And trust is a function of results. Trust is a function of doing what you said you would do. But then sometimes I'm like, fucking hell, I wish I never said that. Yeah. Example, I've got a jiu-jitsu comp this weekend, right? And I don't tell many people about these comps anymore because I don't want to put the pressure on. Because it's actually, I hate them. I love jiu-jitsu. I hate competing, right? There's just something that I've even had a mindset coach to help me with a fighting mentality. And he said something to me that I might reveal it, but it blew me head off. Anyway, so I've got this jiu-jitsu comp and I'm in it and I'm like, the two divisions I could compete at 79.5 kilos or 85.5. Last week I was 81.5. And I'm like, that's not far off. But then I'm like, this week's busy doing podcasts and that. And then Saturday I've got a book signing. So if I want to drop 2 kilos this week, I'll have to do a water cut. And you know as well as me, you piss all of the time. Yeah. And I can't be standing in a queue. I can't have a queue of people wanting selfies and book signing that while I need to piss every 30 seconds, right? Just can't do it. So I was like, right, I'm not going to cut weight. I'm going to go up to the 85.5 division, right? So I'm going to be 4 kilos lighter than everybody else. And then when I go in it, there's no one in my age category. So you've got 40 plus and then you've got 30. So I was like, okay, I'm up a weight category, and now there's no one in the age category. So now I've got to fight people 15 years younger. And then I looked at it, and I'm not going to have a coach. There's nobody that I know is going to this event, so I'm not going to have anyone in my corner. But I have to do what I said I would. Yeah. I've got every reason in the world to pull out of that event, but I said I would do it, so I'm going to do it. So it does become annoying, but then once I've done it, I'll be like, yeah, I did what I said I would do again. And you kind of build this confidence and certainty and trust in yourself, and that's very empowering.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you should say that, because it's well, I think maybe that's why it resonates with me, because I remember being like 18, 19-year-old kid, and I was just starting the bodybuilding shows, and you throw yourself into a bodybuilding comp, you know, you don't realise how hard it is, you know, your first time round. And I remember thinking to myself, God, if only I'd just get injured and then I would be able to get out. But I told everybody I was going to do it.
Yeah.
And I would rather, there's no way that I could have stopped myself.
That's also how I stopped drinking. I tried for a long time, and mate, when I stopped drinking 2021, and I wasn't, people give me a bit of shit for this. They're like, well, you didn't even have a problem. I drank like every 90 days. Maybe 6 times a year, over Christmas a couple of times more, right? So it wasn't really, it had been a problem for me in the past. I kind of handled it, but I'd be like, do you know what? I want to see if I can do a year booze free. And people are like, why? I was like, I just want to see if I can. But as soon as I said it publicly, I tried it the year before and failed after 2 weeks. I'd failed by the February, actually, right? And as soon as I said it publicly, I was like, well, it's done now, isn't it? It's done. I can't not. I don't want to, because we all have this fear of what people think. I do. People say you don't care what people think, do you? I'm like, no, I do. I just use it as fuel rather than an excuse. I don't use it as a crutch. I'm like, well, let's fucking go. I'm going to use it to my advantage here. It's there. The fear's there. How can I use it? So I have such a fear of what people think that I don't want to say I'm going to do something and then not do it and look like a cunt.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's
it is powerful. You've got to be a bit careful I'm very careful about what I say yes or no to now, though, because I don't want to make a commitment to someone and then have to pull out, because that's just not my thing. Yeah. So sometimes I'll say, listen, yeah, I'll do your podcast, but you might have to wait, email Kath, or I'll double book it. I'll double book it, guaranteed. So I'm you've got to be careful about what you say yes and no to, but that's also good as well, man.
Yeah, I mean, I remember doing the 3 peaks, and we got to, honestly, right, so I did it with James, who works for me, and it was pissing down. 12 hours of pissing down.
Of course it is, yeah. Of course it is, yeah.
The worst ever. And we got to 2, and I was totally unprepared.
The national ones?
No, the Yorkshire ones.
Mate. Me and Leslie nearly died doing it.
Did you
last December, yeah. Finish your bit and I'll tell you
what
I was
going to say. So I was wearing joggers and I was wearing a hoodie and I was like drenched.
Prepared then.
Yeah.
Prepared then, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, well, literally, James had said, do you fancy ever doing this was on the Wednesday, he's like, do you fancy doing the Yorkshire 3 Peaks sometimes? I went, yeah, what are you doing Sunday?
Yeah.
I was like, let's go. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Actually, do you know what you just said there? I quite like that sometimes, because you don't get a chance to overthink it.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, there's some things that I've done with I did that Goggins chat this time last year. No, not last year. This time in 2021 it was. I did that 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours. I didn't train for it. Because if I'd have trained for it, I would have overthought it. I would have been, every niggling little injury would have been like, oh, I can't do it now. I just fucking did it a week after. Yeah. And it hurt like fuck. Which I'm sure what you're going to say, but I said I was going to do it.
Oh yeah, exactly, and that's it. I'd done the Instagram things before, and we're doing the 3 peaks, and it got to the end of second peak, and I'm absolutely fucked, and and James was like, look, we can go, just go back to Kai if you want. I was like, not a fucking chance, mate. I said we're going to do it. I can't be that guy that does 2 peaks, you know? So I'm gonna it's got the fucking 3 peaks, like the 2 peaks. I gotta do it, you know, and that, but because I'd said I wanted to do what I said I'd do.
That's powerful, man.
It dragged me on to do it.
It's powerful. People. I want to. This is an interesting thing, right? There's one thing I don't want to be seen as, and that's being unreliable. Because I think, as a dad, if your kids think you're unreliable, if your wife thinks you're unreliable, if my clients think I'm unreliable, if my team think I'm unreliable, I want to be known as someone that's reliable. And that boils down to, he said he would do it, and he did.
Yeah.
And it's not always like these all-conquering things like a jiu-jitsu comp with hundreds of people watching, or fucking 3 peaks. Sometimes it's just, well, I said I'd make that post, so I'm going to make it. I said I'd do that podcast, so I'm going to do it. I said I'd write that book, so I'm going to do it. I said I'll pick you up from school, so I'm going to pick you up. I'm not going to watch cats playing the piano on YouTube all day. I'm going to finish my work, so I can pick you up. I said I'd take you on holiday this, I'm going to. So it's not always like huge moving mountains things. Sometimes it's the tiny bits that are even more important, becoming reliable. But those Yorkshire 3 peaks, man. So I want to do it as prep, because I did Everest Base Camp last year, because I'd I torn me pec. In that summer, I torn me pec, so I couldn't train jiu-jitsu. So I was like, right, I need another challenge. So I'm going to do Everest Base Camp. So as part of the Everest Base Camp prep, I was like, let's do these Yorkshire 3 Peaks. And it was December, and I was going on holiday the next day. Actually, it was like Boxing Day or something. And Leslie was like, the weather was terrible. She said, you're not doing that on your own. And I was like, well, I want to do it on my own. I did like Scarfell Pike. I did Helvellyn a couple of times. And I like to listen to an audio book. And I was like, Leslie, listen, I just need to get in my zone. She was like, I'm going to come so you don't die. Right? And honestly, the second peak at the top of it, we were having to hold on to fence posts because it was so windy.
Yeah.
Hold on to fence posts and not blow over. Leslie said to me, we got towards the end, she was like, you haven't spoken to me for 9 hours. I was like, I fucking told you I wouldn't. She said at one point, I was so far behind you, I couldn't see you, didn't even turn around. I was like, I told you I wouldn't.
In the zone.
I wasn't there for a social, man. She's fair than me as well. She'll smash me on most things. She's training for some fucking ultra at the minute. She'll smash me on most things. But when I'm in the zone, I'm like, I'm powering on here.
Yeah.
I'm not fucking around. But yeah, the do what you said you would do is underrated.
Yeah.
It's an underrated quote.
Well, you've had that's like I say, been a consistent message, right, from the very first time that, you know, I found you on your podcast.
Yeah.
But like you say, it's been, 10 years plus probably that I've been listening to your stuff, and I'm still listening to you now. It never gets boring, right? Yeah. So like, how much time do you put into your own education and stuff like that to evolve?
Yeah, mate, I've always got a coach.
Yeah.
I've always got a coach in something. I mean, even this morning, so I've got the comp at the weekend, but I was hurt yesterday, so I couldn't do my jiu-jitsu session with my normal coach. So this morning, my PT's also Bram. I said, mate, can you show me this? I'm always looking to, I don't even think it's get better, it's actually to stop fucking up. It's not even, I was like, so this thing in jiu-jitsu, I was like, why is this not working? Even in business, I'll be like, it's not that I don't know what to do. I'm like, why is that not working? I like to know why it's not working. So, mate, I'm always looking to, and again, I'm a big believer in, when I was rock bottom, 2014, when I was rock bottom, mate, you'll know this whole thing. But part of the reason I was rock bottom, because I had no purpose. And purpose, for me, is a feeling. It's a sense of purpose. And it comes from having something to move towards. So I'm always looking. And I get a lot of hate for this because they're like, why can't you just be satisfied? I'm like, would indicate I've got a satisfactory life. Who wants a satisfactory life? I want extraordinary. It doesn't mean I'm not grateful for what I've got, because I still do that. Every day I write down my wins, my progress. Every week I'm like, what was my magic moment this week? But it doesn't mean just because I'm hungry for the next thing, doesn't mean I don't appreciate what's happening, what I've done. Like, so I've always got something to move towards, and that means that it's going to be hard. That means that I won't have all the answers. If I do have all the answers, the goal's too small. So I'm always, if I want to get better at jiu-jitsu, I'm not going to get better just doing it on my own. I need a coach. I need someone that's better than me. Even if it's not a coach, I've got to train with people that are better than me. Business, I'm like, well, if I'm going to get to the next level, there's something that I'm not going to know. So sometimes I try and figure it out myself, and then I'm always asking for help, man. It's a concept that I learned in 2018 from a guy called Dan Sullivan. He ended up writing a book about it. It's called Who Not How. It's a fucking sensation, but it's very simple, because we're always figuring out how to do something, but what if we just thought, well, who's already done it? Who's already there? Who's on that mission also? Who can open the door? It's how I got a book deal. I shouldn't be able to get a fucking book deal with the second biggest publisher in the world. How do you even get a book deal? I didn't know. I got it because of who I know. Who I know was James Smith. Who I know was his agent. Who he knows is James Smith's publisher. Do you know what I mean? Who he knows is, well, who else I know is on the cover of the book. They were like, can you get any of your friends to endorse it? I had Russell Kane, one of the best comedians in the world. Chris Ramsey, biggest podcast in Europe, Shag Married Annoyed. I had Ollie Ollerton, ex-SAS, and I had Smith, 2 million followers. Like, that's leverage of the who, not how. So I'm just constantly thinking, okay, who can get me there faster? Who can help me? Who's better than me? Who's already done it? Who can open a door for me? Who can introduce me to him? So I'm into striving for the next thing, because I love, it's not about the thing at the end. I love the chase. Do you know what I mean? Like, if it was just about competing in jiu-jitsu, I'd be like, I'd do the comp and then I'd never do it again. But I love the whole journey of getting better, getting fucked up one day, being good. Then same in business. I mean, it's what I've realized, that almost every single goal I've ever achieved was a bit of an anticlimax in the end. Think about that. You're like, oh, it's a buzz for a sec. I filled the fucking theatre in Newcastle, fucking 1,200 people on a Friday night to hear me talk about fucking motivation. It's a boring topic usually, right? And I filled it and I was buzzing for about 10 minutes, and then I was like, that was great. But it's always, every single goal I've ever hit's been the same.
Yeah.
Even the book, seeing the book, I was like, oh, that's great. But then it's like, do you know what I describe it as? You know when you get a new car and you're like, I'm going to look after this one. I'm not letting McDonald's wrappers in. The kids aren't allowed to throw shit all over the place. There's going to be no old protein shakers that fucking stink in it. It's going to be tidy. 2 weeks later, It's back to the same way the other one was. That's what I feel like often with goals, but it's about, I love that chase. I think it's important that men in particular have something to aim for, something to strive for, something to challenge them, something that requires them to be more than who they are now, something that seems beyond their current level of ability. Otherwise, you get inertia. You go around in fucking circles.
Yeah. No, I mean, so when I won the Mr. Universe, I'd spent 15 years chasing this huge goal. Yeah. And then, I had a day or so of lots of likes on Facebook and a few nice comments and stuff like that. But there was it was an empty feeling afterwards. Like there was no open top bus parade and stuff like that for me. It was
the way I can describe it, it's like being a balloon and being slowly deflated. It's not like a pop. It slowly deflates, doesn't it? That's what I can describe.
I think if you've got your eyes on the prize, for me, it was 15 years going for that.
Yeah.
What now?
Yeah.
Where do I go now?
And I think people think that's a problem. I'm like, no, it's not. We're supposed to have something to aim towards. Your brain is a prediction machine. So whether you like it or not, you've got a goal. If I'm like, well, I'm just trying to be grateful, well, guess what that is? That's a goal. I'm just trying to be present in the moment. What's that? It's a goal. Your brain is a prediction machine, always looking for the next thing anyway. So if I'm not thinking about what I want, guess what my brain's thinking about? What I don't want. What I hope doesn't happen. So your brain is a prediction machine anyway, so I may as well try and predict what could go right, what I do want to have happen, because if that doesn't happen, my brain's it's programmed to think what I don't want to happen. It's programmed to think what I hope doesn't happen. It's programmed to think what could go wrong. So I'm just doing the opposite. I'm training my brain to do something else. Yeah. And I just so happen to be happier and more energized than you. So shut the fuck up. Yeah. I don't know who I'm telling to shut up, but there's not even anyone there.
Well, you're a very high energy guy, and we talk about the fact that I've been listening to you for 10 plus years now, and not getting bored with what you're saying. Yeah. And I think you coined that sort of phrase, infotainment. Yeah. And you do it really, really well. Yeah. Like there's so many people in the space that you're in that just don't do it like that. And I think that because of that, they end up having a bit of a shelf life, and you've heard what they say, and then it's okay.
And the thing is, Stu, I don't even think I do it on purpose. I just talk about what's happening to me, what I'm going through, what challenges I've had, and it sounds cheesy and corny and cliche, but I be myself. Like, I don't know any other way to be. Like, we were talking about it before the thing when I got an interview cancelled. I'm like, well, the publisher was like, can you take it down? I'm like, no.
You've got to be authentic.
Aye. And again, that word's awful. As it's almost I want another one, because it's like, it's been a bit icky, hasn't it? Yeah. Funny enough, the people that say it the most are the ones that are the least.
Yeah.
The people that use that word all the time, authenticity, and that, they're the least authentic. And I'm like, authenticity for me, I learned this from a coach of mine, Peter. He said authenticity is just the absence of inauthenticity. Inauthenticity is essentially pretending, wearing a mask. Like, and I've done that before. That's probably part of the reason why I ended up rock bottom. I wore a mask, pretending to be something that I wasn't all the time. Now I'm just like, if you don't like it, it's fine. I don't like everybody. So I don't, do you know what I mean? You want people, of course we want people to like us, right? I want people to like me. I want people to think I'm funny. I want people to think I'm energized and I'm inspiring. I want people to think that. And I want people to like me, but I'm also very understanding that not everyone will, because I don't like everybody.
Yeah, no.
So I would expect everyone else to.
Yeah. I think though, the people that do the best, they are often quite polarizing. You either love them or you hate them.
Yeah.
And it's fine for those that hate you, because those that love you, they go all in and they really champion you. And like you say, you build a business off the back of those people.
You do, and it's like, and it's not as though, and the thing is, I don't try and be polarizing. I don't go out my way and think, what could I say today that could trigger people on the internet? Because my opinions aren't even that strong. Like, well, I'm working with a new content creator. She's like, Paul, what strong opinions do you have about this? I'm like, well, so everyone wants me to do videos about Andrew Tate, right? Because he's a bit of a cunt. But he also says some very valid shit. Some of the stuff that he says, I'm like, yeah, he's bang on. But then if I say that he's bang on, people are going to think I believe everything he says. I'm like, no, the stuff he says about women's fucking horrific. The things that he's said he's done to women, horrific. But when he talks about business and that, I'm like, he's fucking bang on. But I'm not willing to be controversial for the sake of it, but I'm not worried about giving my opinion. But I actually realised my opinions aren't that strong. They're not that strong. And I actually did a post. I'm working on a post right now that's called 17 Things I've Changed My Mind On. Because I'm willing to be open-minded. Most of the things I do in my life now, mate, at some point I've took the piss out of. At some point I've been, it's fucking gay. You know what I mean? I am saying that, by the way, because that's what my kids say, gay that. So, edit that bit out too. I'm joking. But that is a saying. It's what people say. Yeah, it's what people say. It doesn't mean I'm homophobic. No, gay that. Means happy, by the way. Just so you know, it's happy that. So the things that have changed my mind on is like, oh, well, meditation's for hippies. I do it every day. I've said journaling. for fucking teenage girls, that. Do you know what I mean? I've done, what else have I said? There was a period in my life where I thought clean eating was the only way to get in shape. There's a period in my life where I thought you had to drink to switch off. There's loads of things that I used to say that I'm like, well, actually, I don't believe in that anymore. If I said I got the vaccine, I wish I never got it, right? But I said it at the time because I believed that it was the right thing to do. Now I'm like, fucking hell, really? I did that? Do you know what I mean? So I'm okay with changing my mind, which means that I'm never that polarizing. Do you know what I mean?
No, yeah.
I'm okay to be proven wrong. I think the people with the strongest opinions often just they hold these beliefs and they're not willing to consider that actually they could be wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but polarizing is not a thing that I try and be, but sometimes it happens. Well, do you know what I mean?
Well, it does happen. I mean, you still manage to piss a lot of people off on the internet, right? Because I see you.
I'm so, man. Do you mean me biggest fans?
Oh, man.
The biggest
It's daily.
Oh, it's brilliant, man. It's brilliant, man.
Is it brilliant because does it not actually affect you?
Not anymore.
Does it not affect your family?
Not
your
anymore.
Kids, anything
no,
like
they
that?
think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
They think it's hilarious. So when I first got them, mate, when I first started getting that, I would take it personally. Like, you know me, I like fighting. I love jiu-jitsu. I love boxing. If I could kick, I'd do MMA, right? But I'm fucking too stiff Richard. So I would send people my address and say, come and say that to me fucking face. I was like, a few months later, I'd be like, what am I doing here? Yeah. I'm wasting time and energy on people that I don't give a fuck about. But that was just where I was at. Then it went through a phase of, right, I'm just going to block and delete. Now, I'm like, I made a couple of videos that changed my mind. Yeah, welcome to the show. Get the popcorn out. So now, I made a couple of videos. One of them was called Trolls in Real Life, where I think one of them was in here. And my daughter was in the video. Sim was in the video, Kath was in the video, Connor was in the video, Leslie was in the video, my PT was in the video, loads of random people in the video, where I'd just take comments that people had sent at me on the internet and I'd get them to come and say it to me face. So I'd be like sitting here, my daughter would come over and said, Dick. So and that video blew up. I made another video where I talked about people telling me to kill myself and I'd say, this is not okay. That video blew up as well. Celebrities were sharing it. And then I was like, well, maybe there's something in like having fun with these comments. And then I started having fun with it. They're by far my most popular posts.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of things in that. Number one, I'm not going to allow it to it doesn't take me energy at all. I find it hilarious. It's like a comedian enjoys some level of heckle. Obviously, you've got the Peter K people that get thrown out, but a comedian, it's an opportunity for them to show how funny they are. Paul Smith has built his entire career on crowd work, right? On hecklers. And I did stand up last year, and when you get a heckler, it's fucking amazing. Because you get an opportunity to see who's actually funny and who just has a great story, who's rehearsed, right? And I'm rehearsed when I do, I'm rehearsed, but a heckler's fucking great news to me because I get to show that actually I'm funny. Actually, I can handle it. But also, the other thing is, people love it. Other people love it. People love seeing how I deal with it. People love commenting because they're nosy. They love a bit of drama. And the last piece is, I'm of the opinion that people shouldn't be allowed to just say what they want on the internet. They shouldn't just be able to tell someone to kill themselves. That's not okay. I want their friends to see it. I want their mates to see how much of a fucking dick their mate is.
I like the ones where you literally share their profile picture. It's got the be kind, or you know what was that?
It's be kind. It's be kind. Yeah.
They've got the screensavers and all that sort of stuff.
They've got their profile picture of be kind on it.
Yeah, they've got all the you know. Yeah. I think was one where they were working at some mental health charity or mentalness or something like that, or an ambassador for that. Yeah, and it's weird, isn't it, how people act. Yeah. Behind
and I
the
think
computer screen.
And I think sometimes, Stu, I think also there's a level of accountability. Like, I think about this fairly often. I'm like, there is people that have killed themselves because of what people say about them on the internet. So maybe they'll think twice. If I call them out, maybe they'll think twice. I'm not going to get in an argument. I'm going to make one comment, and they're going to shit their pants, and they're going to feel stupid, and then I'm going to leave it. I never go any further than maybe two bites back. Yeah. 2 bites back, I'm like, it's too much now. Yeah, it's too much. I've shot them. I'm out. Yeah. And like you say, it probably is doing them actual favour because they're gonna think twice before doing that again. I could have a book that just had comebacks in it. Yeah, but they are gonna think twice, mate. Some of the things that they say, I'm like, mate, that's not okay. Show your kids that. Show your kids what you just posted. Sometimes I go a little bit serious, but a lot of the time I just have fun back. Like, for example, I get a lot of dick. I'll be like, no, thank you. I'm on a diet. Trying to cut weight for jiu-jitsu comp, mate. Do you know what I mean? Someone type wank. I'm like, oh, thanks for the offer. Yeah. No, thank you. I'm married. Do you know what I mean? I get all of them things. Yeah. You're annoying. Oh, thanks for letting me know. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I saw one this morning that said, I'd rather watch paint dry. And I commented back and I just said, but here you are. Yeah. Yet here you are, Shagger. I think I said at the end.
And taking the effort to comment. I mean, that takes a bit of effort, right?
To go hilarious, man. I genuinely do have fun with those comments. And actually, I haven't had any for a little bit. Yeah. Well, so I was this morning, I was like, oh, I haven't had a welcome to the show. It's even got its own name, man. People are like, where's Welcome to the Show? Bring Welcome to the Show back. I've got a speaking gig next Friday at St James's Park, which is brilliant for me because I hate Newcastle, so I'm going to go in with the Sunderland shirt on. Nah, I'm not really. I would never do that. It's pathetic. But I've actually got a whole section of this talk where I just share things that people have said to me because they're all gym owners actually that are coming. And they struggle with it. So I'm like, well, here's the theory behind it. The comments aren't about me. Never. Even if my name's in it, I know that's not about me. It's them trying to make themselves feel about something. Yeah. So it's about that. But then I'm like, well, how do you actually deal with it? Well, here's how I do it. It's entertainment. And then I showed them the numbers on the posts and the videos that by far me most popular posts and videos. So why would I not have fun with it? So I'm like, how can I use this? There is a benefit. There is a downside in being the horrible comments, as if you take it personally. The upside is, this is fucking great content. Yeah. It's great content. How do I know? Look at the numbers. Yeah. The numbers tell you what great content is, not your opinion. Yeah. The numbers are there. This is great content.
You didn't think about it. Just sit there thinking, what am I going to post today? It's like, done for you content.
Yeah, look, someone called me a cunt last night and I said, yes, please. Cunt, yes, please, yeah. Yeah, can you make sure it's shaven?
Right, so let's talk about how you got here, because obviously, two-time Master Coach of the Year, interviewing people like Tyson Fury, selling out the new place in Newcastle. You said even like you say, dabbling in comedy and stuff like that. Like, I'm sure that these were all goals when you were sat at school thinking, "What do I want to be when I get older?" So what brings you to this point?
It was all an accident. I'm not even kidding. It was all an accident. Even becoming a PT in 2001. That was an accident. I was a fat engineer. I got in shape following the Body for Life program, cabbage soup diet and that, right? Got in shape. People asked me how I did it. I was like, oh shit, I could do this. Same with the boot camp stuff. You don't know me from them days. I started a boot camp, it blew up. People started saying, can you show me how you did that? Yes. Then I obviously had that rock bottom moment in my life, 2014. I probably took a couple of years where the supplement company was taking over, had MMIC. I wasn't really in the public eye much. I kind of went email. I stopped posting on socials because I wanted to get me shit together, and the internet was a place that didn't help me at all. So I disappeared for a bit, and in that period, mate, I lost 5 stone. I got off bipolar medication. I got off anxiety medication. I just changed completely. I had this complete transformation, and same again. People start asking me how I did it. Like, especially, it wasn't. So right now, I probably work with like 10% of my clients are in the fitness game, like a legacy thing. People are like, oh, can you show me what you did with James Smith? I was like, well, it was 11 years ago, but yes. I can't, do you know what I mean? Like, I still get that, 10% of my clients. But back then, I had this legacy in that industry. That's where I've been for a long ass time. So people started coming towards me. Can you show me what you did to change this and change that? And how would I do this? And again, I stumbled into it. And then after that, I've been sitting on this video for ages. You'll know the video, right? It's had 15 million views, that video now, right? And I've been sitting on this video for ages. I made it with my friend from Sheffield, Mark. And I dropped this video, and I've been sitting on it for 18 months because I was scared. And this video is just me talking about my experiences a year and a half before. And that video changed my life and changed the lives of thousands of other people. That sounds tacky and cheesy and big-headed, but that's the truth. Yep. That's where this started. And I've coached 3,000 people since then. I've got my books in thousands and thousands of people's hands and in the ears and all that kind of shit. And it all started with that video where I just described what I was going through. People started coming towards me. How have you turned it around? And then ultimately we've ended up here with a fucking 2-story building, a booking fucking Waterstones, a fucking theatre tour, mad people on me podcast, you know what I mean? And 10 staff. It's mental. Yeah. It's mental.
Yeah. And that obviously was such a pivotal moment.
Not even a plan, really, mate. No. Not even a plan. So we talk about goals, like the goals kind of just evolved. The plan, first of all, was like every new business, I just wanted some clients. And then it became, okay, I want to do this where I don't have to work evenings. Then it became, okay, I want to do less coaching on Zoom. Well, let's do what I did with me fitness. I don't want to do one-to-one. Okay, well, I'm going to, in my PT, I went from doing PT to boot camps, did the same thing. And then I was like, okay, well, how can I make this where I don't feel so lonely online? I know what I'll start doing. I'll start doing an in-person event every quarter. Okay, I love that. Right, how can I triple the amount of people that are here? Okay, sweet. Well, okay, people would ask me to speak on a stage. Okay, I fucking love that. How can I do more of that? It's just none of it was really planned out in one go.
Asking yourself a lot of questions.
A lot of questions. How can I get more of that? How can I get more of that? How can I get less of that? I hate that. I'm not doing any of that. That was probably one of the biggest lessons that I've learned, mate. Right now, I was saying to you right at the start, we say the word busy. Business owners love to say that they're busy. And it sounds negative, but actually I'm busy doing shit that I fucking love doing. I've got a very busy schedule, but there's not a single thing on it that I have to do the odd meeting with my team every now and again. I don't particularly like that. I ruin them for everybody else anyway, because they know that I don't want to be there. Like, Paul, you can just leave now. Like, give me the cliff notes. I hate meetings. So I've just built this business where I could probably make more money if I was willing to do shit that I hate. Like right now, I'm not willing to travel no matter how much you pay me for speaking. I'm just not willing to do it right now. Because I'm going to football with the kids. I've got loads of other stuff on. I'm not traveling. So it's like, the business is something that I love. And I think that's probably the biggest lesson that I've learned since 2014 is that you don't have to always do shit that you don't like in your business. You can delegate it, you can automate it, you can use technology's amazing now for shit, or you can just say no and make a little bit less money. Like, I'm okay making a little bit less money and getting it. I realize that living here gives me less opportunities than if I lived somewhere else. People are like, do you not want to live in Dubai? There's loads of networking and that. I'm like, no. I don't even like going on holiday that much anymore. I was there last week. I don't even like going on holiday there that much anymore. It's not for me. Well, you save money on tax. I'm like, I know, but I wouldn't choose where I live based on how much money I pay in tax. That's just not for me. I'd rather make less money and do loads of shit that I love doing.
Yeah. No, cool. So you spoke then about that pivotal moment in your life when the moment when you were you were wanting to kill yourself. I mean, you probably maybe sick of talking about this by now. Do you know what I mean? But
I've talked about it a lot the last few weeks. But yeah, it's important.
Yeah, and your attitude towards mental health is a little bit different to how most people frame it. All right, and
that's probably why I get the most hate.
Well, you don't tiptoe around it.
No.
And I think it's very straightforward, action-based advice what you do. So I think you're obviously not scared to offend people. But I think I was at one of your dues. I think it was at Newcastle. Oh, again, probably 2019.
Crown Plaza?
Could have been, yeah.
Next to the train station?
Something like that. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it was actually, yeah. And you spoke and you said, like, anxiety, you're just stuck in the future.
Yeah, you created.
And it's not real. Yeah. And depression, you're stuck in the past. And I thought, I've never heard it spoke about like that. And I suppose therefore
I've even evolved since then, mate. I've got strong opinions on this now, and I'm allowed to say it. And I'll just say I'm not a doctor. I do have a lot of experience with depression, a lot of experience with anxiety. I've had some terrible... I've been to the lowest of the low with both of the, or with anxiety actually the highest of the high, because anxiety isn't a low state, it's a very high state. I've been sedated on flights. I've had to get out of taxis and walk. I've had to get off buses and walk. I've had to get off trains and then get back on because of that tight space. I've had to be medicated. I've had to be all those things. Obviously, depression, I was rock bottom. So I'm speaking from experience, but also the experience of coaching 3,000 people. You get a lot of experience there. Working with some of the top people in the world on both things. Both of those things are a result of where you place your attention. What you are focused on, so you feel what you're focused on. If I asked you to tell me about something that pisses you off, within 30 seconds, you'd be pissed off. If I started talking about, if I said, can you talk me something that makes you sad? I was even doing this morning. I've done a keynote where I talk about one of my friends that died in 2021 at the end. I was putting the slides together for this talk next Friday, and I'm closing out on his story. I'm emotional saying it. I can feel the sadness in me now. And all that's happened is I focused on something that makes me sad. And guess what I did? I chose to focus on that. I chose to bring it up. I didn't have to. I could have told you about the story that I've got about the naked couple came in a sauna in Basel and the lady was heavily pregnant. In Basel in Switzerland, the sauna naked. And I could have told, look, you're smiling, I'm smiling. Yeah, I seen the baby's head. I think it was Ginger. See what I'm saying? All I've done is shift what I'm focused on. That's literally, the problem is with that though, it takes training. It takes training. People, we're not taught this. So when I put my focus on what I don't want, how I don't want to feel, I get the feelings that go with that every single fucking time. What I'm focused on. And that takes training. People don't like to hear it. People don't like to hear that. So depression happens as a result. Usually, I think the biggest thing is people's life doesn't look how they want it to look and they think they can't do anything about it. They have no blueprint for the future. They have no sense of purpose. All they can see is the past and they can see right now. And they can't see beyond that. That was me. I was ready to kill myself. So I'm allowed to talk about this. I'm saying it. I was ready to leave my kids behind. Leslie said to me, think about the kids. And I said, hey, I'm going to be better off without me. Right? That was me. I was fucking stuck. All I thought about actually was me. I was very insular. I had what I would call a very narrow focus, because when you are all like that, you don't think about anyone else. Think about yourself and how bad shit is for you. And I'm not making a joke of this. I'm not making light of it because it's horrible. I've been there. I've coached, like I say, thousands of people through that rock bottom moment. One of my biggest case studies, Joel. We talked about it recently. I dropped the podcast with him. He's gone from 14 grand a month to 147 grand a month in 7 months. Alas, Did I just use that word? Fucking hell. But that's not the biggest transformation. When he was there, he was rock bottom. And he's had the transformation because of the training that he did. The training that he did was training where he placed his attention, where he placed his focus, what he thought about, what he watched, what he listened to, what he talked about, what he wrote down, became about not focusing on what he doesn't want, how he doesn't want to feel, what he hoped doesn't happen, what he wished didn't happen, what he could have changed. His focus then shifted to what he does want, what he is good at, who he wants to impact, how he does want to feel. And guess what started happening? His attention started shifting, and then his energy started shifting, and then how he felt started shifting. It's as simple as that. You feel what you're focused on. You get where you place your attention is where you place your energy. Where you place what you add attention to, you add momentum to. That's the fucking bottom line, and most people will tell you that. Also, I'd say that mental health needs physical support. A lot of people don't want to talk about that part either. Like, what upsets people when I talk about depression is when I say, listen, men aren't depressed because they don't talk. That's not a symptom of not talking. Depression is not a symptom of not talking. Talking will help some people, but it doesn't cook fucking rice. It doesn't cook rice. I remember seeing it every ist under the sun. If it had ist on the end, I'd seen them and I paid money to see them. And I just kept talking about my past. That's what they wanted me to talk about. And I'm like, well, I can change the way I see it, which is actually very, very useful. Changing the frame, changing what you make the past mean is how you change the way you feel about it. But actually, I just kept repeating it all. It was like I had a fucking script. And I felt worse every time I came out of a session. Because what I need to focus on is my fucking future when I'm low like that. Now, anxiety is an inappropriate response to fear. Anxiety basically means fear disorder. Disordered fear. So it's basically an inappropriate response to fear. And it happens a lot of the time when, boredom's anxiety's best friend. And I don't mean bored as in not doing anything. I mean, when my life is full, when I'm solving problems, when I have goals, when I have a mission, when I have targets, when I've got something to focus about, some problem to solve in my head, there's no room for anxiety. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen to me. And you got to think about this. There is no cure for anxiety. You know why? It's not an illness. It's a disorder. Yeah. One of the first things you can do with a disorder is add order to your life. So the best thing that I ever learned about anxiety, number one, is start add some order and some structure to your life. You're all over the place. You've got disorder. The second thing is, again, it's an inappropriate response to fear. But the fear isn't even real. You're scared about something that might happen, but it's not even real fear. It's like, it's an anxiety. Mine was about being stuck. My main anxiety is I'm stuck. I can't get out of this plane. I wasn't scared of dying on a flight. I was scared of being stuck. Same in a car. I've had panic attacks having a fucking massage. How mad's that? I'm in a place where I'm meant to be relaxing, but I feel stuck. My face is in the thing. The door's closed. There's no one here. Acupuncture. Had a panic attack. Having acupuncture, man. It's inappropriate response to a fear it's not even real fear. It's inappropriate. So the best thing that I ever learned about anxiety changed my life. And this was by a guy called Charles Linden. Charles Linden said, stop talking about it. Stop thinking about it, which is the hardest part. Stop Googling symptoms of it. Stop reading about it. Stop writing about it in your journal. Stop giving it attention. Guess what happens when you stop giving something attention? When you stop watering something? It fucking dies. So I stopped giving it attention. And then it disappears. Sometimes it'll try and creep up on me a little time. When I was on a flight recently, we flew to Saudi Arabia. So we did Riyadh for the boxing. On the way to Dubai, the first flight, there was some turbulence. And I felt it, the heat. You're freezing but sweating. It's a mad thing. Freezing but sweating. I'm like, shit, it's here. So what did I do? Distracted myself. Literally started playing Football Manager or something. I started watching something or reading or doing some work. When I'm doing that, no anxiety.
Yeah.
It's not there. I can't do that. I can't have an anxious thought and play Angry Birds at the same time. I just can't. This is the way it is. So yeah, those two things. And again, I'm speaking from personal experience and experience of coaching 1,000 people. 100% fixable, not stuck with them for life. Unless, I remember 2021 when I did my first book, Paul Mort Will Save Your Life. The producer at the end said to me, Paul, do you think you'd end up back on the cliff? I was like, 100%. I would end up back on the cliff if I went back to doing what I did then. If I went back to those behaviors, those habits, that thought process. Same with anxiety. If I went on a flight and just tried to raw dog it, guarantee I would end up sedated. I fucking guarantee it. Because it'll just, it's again, there's no cure for it. Because it's not a sickness. It's not an illness. It's a bit of a disorder. So, but if I do the things that stop it from appearing, it doesn't fucking appear. We are that, innit?
Yeah.
It's like wondering why you're drunk when you drink. I'm getting anxious because I'm not doing the things that stop me from getting anxious.
Yeah.
I'm creating anxiety.
Okay, cool. So and
it happens to people who have a high creative intellect, by the way. That's the good news. If you suffer from any kind of anxiety or panic disorder, you've got a high creative intellect, you're just not using it. So instead of using your creative intellect to solve problems and have goals and work on things and solve things, you're creating problems that don't exist.
Yeah. And when you were, at that the low point in your life, I think you even said yourself, you had a great life at the time.
Yeah.
And it would be weird for people to try and understand why you're so low when you had the money. I think you were living in Spain.
In Marbella, 4-bedroom villa, private pool, hot wife, 2 kids, all of it.
Right? So
I had the business that I thought I wanted when I set the goals all them years ago. But it's interesting. And again, I think 2 things happened. One, I was drinking and doing a lot of coke. A lot of drinking, a lot of coke. Not every day, but most days. I had no sense of purpose anymore. That was probably the biggest thing that I took from that. I'd kind of reached this level where I was like, this is it now. Like, I didn't know about purpose. I didn't know. So I was just focused on everything that could go wrong. I was focused on all the people that had wronged me in the past, tried to rip me off, copied my shit. I spent most of my days arguing with people on the internet. I'd focused on the people that I'd fallen out with. Fucking hell, I didn't speak to me mum for 6 months because she took Herbalife. I'm like, really? Now I wouldn't give a fuck. But I didn't have enough going on in my life. There wasn't enough. My focus was just on, like I said, my focus was on the things that I didn't want, the way that I didn't want to feel, the way I didn't want my body to look, the things that I wish I could change, the people that had done me wrong, the people that had upset me, the people that I didn't like. So therefore, I got the feelings and the state that went with it.
So when you were at those low points, were you still coaching at that time in some degree?
In and out.
Yeah.
In and out. I'd coach someone and then I'd be like, I'll get back to you. I'm not doing very well right now. I'll get back to you in a month.
How did you handle that to feel? I know you don't like the word authenticity, but telling people that they need.
There was
to
a
do
period
X,
where
Y,
I
and
didn't.
Z.
There was a period where I didn't. There's a period where I didn't. But actually, if I'm talking about authenticity, I was just telling them at that point. I was telling them what to do in their business, and that was it. Right, okay. My business was still working, so Lean Greens was still rocking without me in it. MMIC was doing really well, so I was still making money.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you know the blessing or the upside of having that successful business being all over the place was that I was able to go and do retreats. Was that I was able to hire all of the ists and figure out what wasn't for me. Was that I was able to go to fucking conventions and boot camps and courses and hire mentors and hire coaches. That was the upside of it. So yeah, there was a period where I was just telling people what to do in that business, and it was all via MMIC, really.
Yeah. And you've got, obviously, I know you said that you go to like the you see out at the football all the time, not just Sunderland games. You're all over the world, everywhere.
Yeah. Last week I was at Al Nassr against El Etifak.
Yeah, I saw that. And you've got for the boxing and stuff.
Yeah,
like
the
that.
boxing was the boxing in Saudi was amazing.
Yeah,
you know the tickets are only 40 quid each.
Really?
People are like, there must be a fortune. The 40 quid each is just expensive to get there.
Yeah.
But it was like, I love boxing, but I hate going to boxing because it's surrounded by pissed up football fans who don't even like boxing.
Yeah.
They just go there and sing football songs at boxing and get mortal. And it's a bit rowdy and it's a bit leery. My son doesn't particularly like it. He always tells me to smack people. Dad, just smack him. I'm like, I'm like, son, come on, man, because he loves fighting as well. He's a boxer. Yeah. Dad, just smack him. I'm like, mate, no, I'm not doing that. I'm fucking 45 years old. And I'm a grown man. I'm an adult. I'm not smacking anyone. Anyway, so we went to the boxing, mate, and the boxing was like watching world-class boxing at the theatre. It was just fucking class, man.
Yeah.
Like it was, you know what's crazy? I'm going to the UFC the end of March in London. That trip is the same as what it cost me to go to Riyadh.
Really?
By the time you put in a train, a hotel, and the UFC tickets are ridiculously priced, it's the same price.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of complaining about it, but I'm still going. So I could just not go. But I love live sports. Live sports is my thing.
You got
it's what I spend most of my money on.
Creating them experiences and the memories
magic
with
moments,
the kids and
memories.
Stuff like that.
We get round and we be like, remember this and remember when we did that. And it's funny, you know, because in that time where I was building that business back in the day, 2010, 2000, I stopped going to football because I was like, I don't have time. That's not what successful people do. You can't go to cheering other men on. Like, who does that? Like, you know, I went through that period where I just sacrificed all of that fun stuff, and I didn't want to be around people because I thought I went through that period. I hate people. No, the reality was I didn't hate people. I hated myself. Yeah. I hated how I responded around people. I hate how I shied into the corner because I wasn't in a good place. Like that whole thing. So yeah, live sport is our thing. What have I got this week? Oh, I'm doing a book signing Saturday, and Waterstones are like, why can't you stay? I haven't told them. I can go from 11:30 till 1:30 because I'm going to the match.
Yeah.
I'm going to the match, yeah. So then, yeah, they're just, that's what my life became about, mate, because one day, and again, this is the thing that I learned from my friend Darren, is that one day I'm not going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
One day I'm not going to be able to go. There's an advert. I think it's for Sky Sports. It's for something where they say it's only live once.
Yeah.
It's only live once. I'm like, that is true. It's only live once, and I want to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been all sorts of mad places.
You've got, like, say, you've got them in the holidays,
Yes.
the private moments that you've got with
Yes.
kids, making you smile, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, like, it's all these great experiences that you're now doing as a family and with your kids and stuff like that. And do you ever kind of go back to the time when you were, you wanted to kill yourself and think, fuck, I could have missed all this? Does it ever kind of prop up in that sort of sense?
Never.
Or do you never, is it in the back of your mind now, or?
It's in the back of my mind. The only time it pops up really is when I get asked about it.
Right,
You think about this. I learned this from a coach of mine, Peter Sagey, brilliant Peter. And Peter said, he taught me something. This is why journaling works as well, is that questions are the steering wheel of the mind. So I just don't ask them questions, because remember, when I'm journaling every morning, what am I focused on? What I want. I'm focused on what I want to make happen, who I want to impact, what I'm most excited about that day, what went well yesterday. So I've trained my brain not just to only look for positive stuff, but to focus on what makes me feel good.
Do you think that's quite hard for people that, like, let's say that they're in a business that's not doing right well and they're struggling with money, and that becomes such a focus, that fear. Yeah. But is that keeping them stuck even more?
No, because I don't think fear is always a bad thing.
Okay.
Fear can be a real great driver. Some of the best things I've done in my life have been when I was most scared. Do you know what I mean? That's why I'm doing this jiu-jitsu thing, because I fucking hate it. I'm scared of it. But every time I do it, I hate it a little bit less. And I think sometimes fear is I'm not saying a positive driver. I think it's energy, innit? It's energy. So fear of looking stupid is what we talked about before. Fear of not doing what you said you would do is a driver. I just don't see it as negative. I'm like, actually, fearing that your business could shut down, you got two options. Right? The fear's there. Am I going to take action, or am I going to hide behind me settee? Am I going to get on the phone? Am I going to make that post, send that email, knock on doors? People still do that. It's a bit weird. Yeah. But am I going to knock on doors? Let's use that as an example. Yeah. Or am I going to hide behind my couch? The fear's there anyway. Like, fear is a great driver. I'm fear of... Now, when you start hiring people, I mean, we've got a big team. We've got 5 full-time and 5... you would call subbies, 5 like sales team, marketing team. They're all like subcontractors. We have a VA. But then I have 5 in here that are all full-time wage. I've now got the fear of, well, if I don't make sales, their family doesn't get fed. If I don't generate leads for my sales team, they don't get fed that month. But I'm like, I've got 2 options. I can like that, I can choose to love it, or I can complain about it. Yeah. I choose to love it. It drives me. It fires me up. That's also, you got to think about, there's the same, well, pressure is a privilege. And pressure is a privilege. If you don't like the pressure of running your own business, don't fucking do it. Get a job and rely on somebody else. Yeah.
Totally get it. I mean, going back to some of the things that you said, obviously we talked about like the do what you said you would and all that sort of stuff. One of the other phrases that's had a bit of an impact on me is, what's the story you're telling yourself?
Cool story, bro.
But I didn't understand that at the start. Yeah. Because when I first started following you, I'm peak bodybuilding, everything's good, I'm high on self-belief, I'm driven, I've got a formula that works for me, and I just didn't, and I heard you say it, and the amount of times I said, I don't know what this guy's on. But then when I moved, the bodybuilding stopped, and I shifted into business, and now this is a new game, and the sort of the self-doubt and the negative self-talk, and what you perceive kind of becomes your reality, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? So, and if you're telling yourself these stories, essentially,
I think the biggest story for me, and it wraps them all up, is it's different for me. It's different for me. I've never run a business before. I'm like, what do you think? Do you think I started with 100 clients? Do you think I started with a decent size? Do you think I started with a theatre show? Or do you think I started in front of 3 people in an old nightclub? I started in front of 3 people in an old nightclub, stuck to the floor when I walked around. Like, and I think that's the biggest story that keeps people stuck. And again, you got 2 options. You can change your story, or you can keep believing it. Like, I remember someone recently sent me a message saying, "Oh, Paul, I really want to build a business like yours, but I've got imposter syndrome." I'm like, well, who diagnosed you with that? Do you know you can get cream? What are you on about? Fucking imposter syndrome. It sounds like a fucking incurable disease. What you mean is that you're uncomfortable, don't you? Yes. That's an example of a story. I'm suffering from imposter syndrome. Well, do you mean you're uncomfortable? Well, yeah. Okay, well, fucking drop that story then. You're uncomfortable. Guess what's good about being uncomfortable? That's how you get bigger. That's how you grow. Imagine lifting a weight that didn't make you feel uncomfortable. Are you going to grow muscle?
No, exactly.
No. I feel like an imposter. This weight, I don't know what this is. This 21. This top half 21. These first seven, I feel like an imposter because it's hard. You're not fucking imposter, it's just hard, man. Yeah. So that kind of story keeps you stuck. Same with people who are like, oh, well, I'm ADHD, so this. I'm like, well, guess what? Do you think I might be ADHD? Yes, I am. But guess what I do? I use the advantages of it. There's loads of advantages of it. You could talk a class I to sleep for a start, right? But ADHD, do you think I could use bipolar as an excuse? Well, of course I could. But it's a story, and I'm either gonna go, there's an upside in this or there's a downside in this. I'm gonna choose to be a victim to it. I'm gonna choose to fucking step up. I'm gonna choose to fucking strap it on me back and go. Like the story thing's massive, man.
How do you get people to actually make them changes? Because so many people Well, so many people would use, like you said, the ADHD, the bipolar, all this sort of stuff, or I've got no time, or whatever the hell the story is, right? They're going to use that as an excuse, and it's almost like just hardwired into.
Yeah, it is quite hard to get them out of that victim state. But I suppose the benefit of being someone that's lived it and walked the talk is that I can show, well, guess what? What I love doing is in a group, if I'm in a group Zoom with all the guys, I'll say, hey, raise your hand if you've ever felt like this. And everyone goes. So someone thinks they're special. I'm like, mate, your case is not unique to me. Because not only have I done that, I've coached fucking 3,000 people who've done the same thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's the thing that I'm trying to get people to see is that this sounds horrible to say, but I mean, you're not that special. You're not that important. Your case is not unique. There are hundreds of people that have overcame that already. There are thousands of people who feel the exact same way you do right now. Stop thinking you're special. And that takes the Master Coach of the Year thing. That's part of the reason why I won it the second time, because they've heard me have these conversations. They've heard me. I'm not scared of calling people out. I'm not scared of asking uncomfortable questions. Some people need a different style of coaching. Some people do need an arm around the shoulder. Some people need a kick in the dick.
Yeah.
I need a kick in the dick most of the time, but sometimes I need that. So I suppose it's nuanced and it's a skill and it's experience, actually, of coaching so many people. But you change that story by showing them yours. Yeah. And sometimes it's asking great questions. Okay, you got ADHD, great. What's the benefit of ADHD? I don't know. Can you hyper-focus on some things? Yeah, I can. Okay, cool. And do you talk really fast? Yeah, cool. Is that an upside? There's upsides. There's not a single downside without an upside. There's not a single negative without a positive. There's not a single drawback without a benefit. I'm yet to find it. So getting people to change their story is about me being able to share mine or someone else's. So it's like a shared experience. And then asking better questions. And that's just getting them to change the frame. Yeah. If I go back to this focus thing, you guys can't see if you're on audio, but I keep putting my hands in a certain place. And that's because I'm getting them to shift their focus. That's all I'm doing. Your story's on here, your story's there, and all you focus on is the downsides, the negatives, the drawbacks. What if I could flip your script entirely and say, okay, well, what's good about that? What's the gift? Same with the haters. Okay, I could see the downside of that. I could take it personally. I could be like, well, they're criticizing me. I better not post anymore. Someone else might see it. Whatever. Or I can say, okay, there's got to be a gift in here. Yeah. There's got to be an upside in it. I've seen that when I've torn me fucking pec. What's the upside here? Well, I get to heal some other injuries now. I got banned from driving. What was the upside of that? My fucking step count went through the roof. The local Uber driver got really busy. Yeah. I saved a fortune on petrol. Like, there's always an upside to it. That was 2021 I got. And by the way, it wasn't for fucking drink driving or anything like that. There's a rumour going around that it was for drink driving. I got banned for the totting up process, it's called. Because I had a fast car. Guess what the problem is with the fast car? It goes fast. So I actually got 6 points for speeding and then 6 points for not sending the fucking forms back in time. Because I got 2 fines within the space of a week and I thought I dealt with them both and I only dealt with one and I got in trouble. They didn't give a fuck though. I said, it was on Zoom and I was sat there with just my pants on but a shirt. Right? And I was like, listen, I said, I know you don't care about my excuse, but I'm really bad with admin. Right, we're not bothered. Your admin isn't our problem. You didn't do it. So I got banned from again, upside in that. Yeah. The upside in Stoney Die, and this sounds mental, my friend Stoney Die, the upside is I get to tell his fucking story all over the world. Yeah. Thousands of people hear it today. Alan Stone, one of the greatest men I've ever met. The lesson that I learned from him is we have the opportunity to be the best part of somebody else's day every day. He was always the best part of my day. Even if I'd had a good day, I'd see Stoney and my day would instantly be better. That's the kind of impact that I try and have on people. Sometimes I don't always succeed, but that lesson from him, that's the upside. I've got this lesson and I've shared that with thousands of people. And imagine if everybody that I ever meet remembers that and tries to be the best part of someone's day every single day, the world will be a very different fucking place.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, look, so obviously one of the things that we do, the reason I suppose I started this podcast was to work out some of the habits and routines of the guys that have got to the top of their field, right? So, let's go through some of the things that you do on a daily and weekly basis. Like, I suppose to start at the beginning, right? Are you a morning routine guy? Is that a thing?
Yeah. Here's what I have. I have a morning routine. It's very short. Also believe that everyone has a morning routine. They do. People do the same shit every day when they get up. The problem is most people get up, look at their phone for 20 minutes, have a coffee, have a shit, leave the house. That's a morning routine, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just, they're just not conscious of it. I'm conscious of my morning routine. And I'm only conscious of it because I haven't practiced it enough. You become unconscious of something when you practice it loads of times. Like driving. You're not conscious when you're driving really anymore. It's just, it's automatic. So and this is always evolving for me, but I like to keep it short. Why? Because one of the first things I want to do, I want to get to work. I want to get on with my day. So actually drumming up business is part of my morning routine. If as a business owner, part of your own morning routine isn't thinking, how am I going to get some deals done today? How am I going to get clients today? We've got a problem. That should be part of your fucking identity, in my opinion. How am I going to drum up business today? How am I going to get eyes on me stuff? Who am I going to message today? How am I going to impact people? So the first thing I do every day, really, is journal. And I journal on the things that I spoke about before. I do what's called prompted journaling, where I just have a lot of questions that I answer, such as, on a scale of 1 to 10, where am I at today? I'm a 7. Okay, what am I willing to do to get to a 10? I'll do this. Okay, what am I most excited about today? That's my favorite question. Because I get to choose. And if there's nothing, guess what I get to do? Put something in. What am I most excited? You know what I'm most excited about today? I'm most excited tonight. I want to watch Man United against fucking Real Sociedad. Because Man United are struggling and I'm enjoying it. Right? And that's what I'm most excited about today. That's me. It's fucking 5:45 kickoff. Right? In case anyone's interested. Right? But I'm excited about that today. That's a great question. Because when I focus on what I'm excited about, guess how I feel? This.
Yeah.
They're excited. Like, how can I not? So that's a question. What's my number one priority today is a question. I've got who's someone that I could reach out to today to let them know that I appreciate them today. Who's someone that I could ask for help today. What's one thing I want to create what's one thing I could do to move me closer to my goals today? Now, all of these questions in the morning move me towards being inspired and a sense of purpose. So I'm creating that feeling on demand within 5 minutes.
Yeah. How do people know the questions to ask? And I've seen a bunch of Paul Mort journals. I was going to say, I've seen a bunch of Paul Mort
here's the mad thing about the journal. The journal is the most expensive journal in the world. You know why? It retails at £4,000 because I don't give it to anybody outside of my program.
Yep.
And that's just for 2 reasons. 1, I want to protect the program. 2, it makes sense for me. And 3, because I fucking want to.
Yeah.
Right? People ask me about it all the time. But in my new book, there are actually a bunch of prompts inside of there that I share about different things. So journaling in the morning, journaling on a night. What do I journal on at night time? What went well that day? What worked? What were my wins? How can I make further progress? Who did I have a positive impact on? I actually asked what could I have handled better today and how will I handle it better next time? And then both of those times, I'm also writing down what my 90-day targets are. Reminding myself of who I said I would be. That's all I'm doing. So that's first. Second thing that I do, so that's 5-6 minutes in the morning. Also in the morning, I added in a new question last year, which was, what was my biggest win yesterday? Because that builds confidence in the morning. Right? Most people wake up terrified and lacking confidence. Confidence comes from progress. Confidence comes from looking at what's working. So I look back at the day before's journal and I'm like, okay, what's my biggest win out of all of them? Starts the day on a positive because you don't remember these things. If I said to you, what were your biggest wins yesterday, you'd struggle to tell me. But if you did it at the end of the day, you'd still struggle to tell me. Imagine you've never done that. You would constantly be focused on what you haven't got done, what you're shit at, and what you failed at. And that is why your self-worth's low. That's why you have no confidence. You don't have confidence. You create it, and you create it by what you're focused on. Same deal. We're still on journaling, aren't we? Yeah. Second thing I do is I meditate. I created this is the hardest thing I've ever done. I created in this very seat a guided meditation. Imagine me on a guided meditation. I've got to talk really slow and quite quiet. It's the hardest thing I've done, right? It's fucking wild. So I created this guided meditation because I've done a lot of different kinds of meditation. I've worked with the Ashaya monks. I have worked with the transcendental meditation people. I've done a lot of work with Dr. Joe Dispenza. None of them really clicked all for me. A lot of meditation made me feel a little bit, the word I'm looking for is flaccid. I didn't really feel anything when I came out. It was all about being present and emptying your mind, which, by the way, emptying your mind, impossible. Here's the thing that I ask. People say, no, you can't. I'm like, well, how would you know? You'd have to notice that you'd emptied your mind, which means you're still thinking, doesn't it? Doesn't it?
Yeah, true.
You can't empty your mind because you'd have to notice, which means you never emptied your mind. It's fucking bullshit. Your mind's not even empty when you're asleep because you have all these fucked up dreams and wake up with a fucking stiffy in that. Sorry, that might just be me. I have to do a handstand to take a piss every morning. So I have this meditation that I've created, which is based on stuff that I've learned. Have you heard of Yoga Nidra? or NSDR, which is Huberman stuff, right? So this concept called Yoga Nidra is basically body scanning. It's where you lie down, you just place your attention on parts of your body to relax. So we start with that, and then we move on to the same thing as what I spoke about before, which I'm like, okay, just take a breath, relax, and I want you to think about the wins that you've had in the last month, the things that you've done really well, the moments in your life, and then we'll picture the people in your life who you love, and you start to get this feeling of appreciation and confidence building. And then I'm like, okay, now I want you to think about what you want. What do you want to create by the end of this year? What magic do you want to make happen? So now you start to think about your future. So basically you come out with that meditation, fucking wired to the moon, because you've done getting present, you've done measuring backwards at what's gone well, and then you've gone, let's focus on what you want then. So that meditation, you come out with that, people cry in that. People, oh, Paul, I did the meditation this morning, I cried. Mad. Anyway, I do that, and then I hit a cold shower. That's it. Right, sometimes I'll do an ice bath. Actually, for the last 3 months, I've done pliability in the morning because I'm getting fucking stiff, man. I'm getting stiff. The young boys in jiu-jitsu are fucking folding me in half, and I'm just bending to there now. I'm not even bending in half anymore. So I started doing that, but my morning routine, fucking 20, 25 minutes. Yeah. And then the last part of it is, let's drum up some fucking business. Let's make a post. Let's send an email. Let's get the team on target. So what part, I know you speak about your jiu-jitsu and stuff like that, but what part does training, nutrition, sleep, huge part of my life. Huge part of my life. So sleep, I gave up on the idea that I could get 8 hours a long time ago. I spent so long stressing myself out that I would get 4. Now I'm 6, 7, fine. Sleep's a big part of my life. I go to bed very early, 9, 10 o'clock. I don't set an alarm. I'm not in the 5 a.m. club. Yeah. I'm not in, I usually wake up between 5:45 and 6:15, so I'll kind of do. Training wise, fucking hell, mate. I've got a visible six-pack for the first time in my life right now. I'm 45. And all I do is this. I still track my calories. Because if I don't, I just fuck up, right? I still track it. I can kind of guess what's in most things. You know what it's like, man. I'm on about 2,300 calories a day. I train jiu-jitsu 4 times a week. If I can, I lift twice a week, but that's if I can, if I've got time, yeah. I'd lifted this morning. Actually, we didn't. We just fucking did some mobility stuff this morning because I've got 2 fights on Sunday. So I lift twice a week. I don't even worry about getting the steps in anymore because I worried about that for ages as well. I think sometimes we're getting in shape or even staying in shape, we make it really complicated. Yeah. We try and do everything, but I better take them supplements and have that fucking ice bath and have that sauna. A sauna probably 3 times a week as well, but again, they're not non-negotiable for me. Non-negotiable is 2,300 calories, 4 litres of water. My life has changed since I started drinking that much water, by the way. I thought it was bullshit for years. Like, surely 2 is okay. And then I did a water cut for the Brits in December. And afterwards, I felt fucking amazing. I mean, we did 8 litres for like 3 days. That was too much. But I was like, I feel fucking amazing off all that water. So 6 was a bit too much, too challenging. 4, honestly, I feel so much better. I sleep better. I digest food better. I eat less. My energy's higher. Yeah. Have less headaches. Get sick. It's mad. And that's it. And jiu-jitsu 3-4 times a week. Here's what I think is important with exercise. It shouldn't need discipline, in my opinion. Discipline means that you don't fucking like it. And there is only so far you'll get doing something that you don't like all of the time. I think there are periods in your life where you have to do shit. So I don't particularly like weight training, but my coach makes it enjoyable. You know what he does? I go and train with him for 30 minutes only. We do 16 sets. So it's usually 4 exercises, 4 sets. Sometimes it might be 12 sets. That's it. And all of the exercises, he'll say, here's how that helps you jiu-jitsu. He'd be like, pick that sandbag up, squeeze it and walk with it. Why? So you can throw a man. Pretend that sandbag's a man. I'm like, okay, I will. And then we'll do deadlifts with fat grips. I fucking hate those things. They make me feel so weak because I can't deadlift what I used to be able to deadlift because my hands are. I'm like, why'd you do that? He said, you see when you grab someone's neck, they're not going to be able to get your hand off. So he sells it to me like that. But I'm bought in. I'm like, okay, that makes sense to me now rather than just, why am I bench pressing? Because so you get big pecs. Yeah. I'm fucking 45 years old with 2 kids. I'm not that bothered about that anymore. Yeah. And it's weird. Once I figured out what kind of exercise that I love, it's not a chore. Yeah. Like, I have to hold back from training now. I'll be like, my body, it's not my mind that stops me from training more than 3 to 4 times a week. It's my body's like, no, fuck off. Stop it, you daft cunt, you're 45.
What do you, I know you spoke there about like the ice baths and the saunas and stuff like that. Do you do anything else for recovery, or is it just a case of getting the sleep, getting the nutrition right?
The nutrition, and again, my nutrition's not perfect. Some days I fast, some days I don't. It depends what I'm feeling. So if I'm training at lunchtime, so I often train at 12 o'clock jiu-jitsu class, I'm not going to fast until 12 o'clock. I'm going to have no fuel. But then if I'm not training, I'll just push it back a little bit. I think we get to rigid and too strict and too, if it's not perfect, then I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
So recovery-wise, mate, I don't work Tuesdays. Sauna, ice, sleep, that's it. I don't do anything spectacular anymore. I have a nap every day. I should mention that.
Yeah.
I tell Leslie I'm meditating.
Yeah.
So I'm going upstairs to meditate. She'll be like, oh yeah? I'm like, aye. I love a nap. I do love a nap.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, recovery-wise, again, I don't go over the top. I'll have a massage once a month or something.
It's really quite easy for someone like you and as busy as you are to head towards burnout without those sort of boundaries in place, you know, when it comes to things like, you know, how big are you on stuff like that?
Oh, huge.
Huge.
Downtime is recovery time. I love me work, and that can become a problem. I love me work. So I have no problem working if I have to, extra. So for example, you know I go on holiday every half term. We must have 7 holidays a year. Right, 7 holidays a year. So we're away every half term. And I don't use my phone. So I don't have Instagram, no Facebook, no email, no WhatsApp, not even any WhatsApp now. So my phone is with me because you just fucking need it to spend money and shit now. You need it a lot. So I delete all those apps when I'm away. So that's a boundary. But also I find that it's not physically I don't get burnt out. It's actually mentally where I start to become less creative. And when you're a business owner, creativity is huge. So I start to lose the buzz a little bit mentally so that my time off is actually built in before my work time. So all the holidays I booked in advance, otherwise I would just get carried away and keep working. Yeah. So yeah, physically I don't end up that fucked, but mentally I start to notice, I don't fancy doing this right now, or I've got no creativity for that. I'll have to go on ChatGPT and get ideas. I'm like, if I have to do that, there's a challenge here. There's a problem. So time off is really important to me. Again, and I'm not getting the time back with my kids. There'll be a point where they don't want to hang out with me.
Yeah, mate, that's the thing that I struggle with at the moment. So mine are only 7 and 4.
Yeah.
But that is something that really, you know, because they're getting older all the time, and they do these things that they've never done before, and all that sort of stuff. And that's the thing that really bothers me. That's my battle at the moment.
Yeah, it's hard. It is hard.
Trying to create that future and push hard. I feel like at the moment I'm in a season of pushing hard with work, but then, you know, I don't want regrets because, you know, you've had, you know, I'm working for a couple of days straight and then I come back and they've done something different. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I don't like it.
And that's part of and the thing is, what we've also got to consider is that if we were employed, it'd be even worse because we'd have to ask somebody if we could get time off. Now I've just got to ask me. Yeah. The problem is my boss is an arsehole. No, but it's like, and again, I just create boundaries here. So see, here's what I like to do. Because it's not often about the time you put in, it's about what you do in the time, right? So I'm like, when we're talking about saying yes and no, I'm like, if it doesn't move my business forward, I'm going to say no. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing that. I'm taking that out. And I don't bother with YouTube anymore. I don't bother with LinkedIn. I don't really put any effort into those things. I don't bother with Facebook Lives anymore. I don't even do much video anymore, unless it's like this. This is easy. But I don't even do much video anymore because I know that I could do them, but they're going to take time and my time's limited. So I'm not, what are the things that move the needle forward here? What has the biggest impact? What has strategic significance? Because it's easy to get busy. It's easy as fuck to get busy. So now I'm like, okay, what are the boundaries? Well, I finish at 3 on a Monday because I train jiu-jitsu at 10 to 4. I don't want to work Tuesdays because I just don't want it because there's a 12 o'clock jiu-jitsu class that I love doing. And I struggle to get back into work. Wednesday, I've got to pick Nina up from school. Thursday, I've got to pick Nina up from dancing. Friday afternoon, everyone finishes at 2. So I'm like, well, I'm not the only one that's going to work. What that means is that I don't get less done. I get more done. I make more progress because I've got a boundary. I'm like, okay, well, if I can only work, if I'm off on Tuesday and I finish at 3 on a Monday, the things that I do in that time have to be important. There's no fucking around. There's like, well, I've told my kids I'm going to pick them up. I've told my jiu-jitsu guy that, I'll train at 10 to 4. It's a private. I'm not going to say, I can't come now. I've been watching cats play the piano on YouTube. Tuesday is the way I do all my cool shit. I'll have a haircut every Tuesday. I'll have a sunbed. I'll have a sauna. I'll do jiu-jitsu. Sometimes I'll go to the cinema on my own. Now, that sounds like privilege, but it's not, because Monday, I guarantee I've made twice as much progress as most people, because I haven't fucked around on meaningless shit. Does that make sense?
No, totally. That's one of the things I said to you about, actually, is like, to go back to your saying, getting shit done.
Yeah.
Right? And that comes through hard boundaries and
hard boundaries. That's it.
Creating deadlines.
Yeah.
On the
People
things
talk about
do.
work-life balance, right? And this is a subject that I've been talking about so much recently, because I'm right now inside of the business, we're attracting guys that are time poor and not cash poor, which is a great position to be in, really, right? Yeah. Attracting guys that are cash poor is a problem, right? It is when you're in a business. So the biggest challenge I have with them guys is work-life balance. And I'm like, I believe the two things you need for work-life balance, the first thing is boundaries. How can you have balance without a boundary? You go beyond that boundary, you've got no balance. You're out of balance. And then you need blueprints, which I think are systems, automations, processes, and structure. And most people don't have any structure. That's why they've got no balance. They've got no structure. There's no boundary, there's no structure, there's no systems, there's no automation. So for example, when I go on holiday, the idea of work-life balance is different because for that week, there is no balance because I'm not working at all. I'm not taking my phone, team norm, uncontactable. Someone else can deal with it. It makes your team level up as well, by the way, that. Whereas most people, their balance is, well, I check my phone in the morning, I'll check my phone all day, and I'll be on the phone all. That's not fucking balance. But the bit that I don't share is the week before is hard because I've got to make sure that all of my clients are going to be dealt with while I'm away. They've still got to be supported because I don't delegate any of the coaching. I still do all of the coaching. So they've got to have two trainings for while I'm away because I'm not live. I've got to make sure that everything's dealt with. So that week, I might work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And it might be that I go beyond 6 o'clock one day. It might be that I have to get up earlier one day. But then I get nothing the week after.
That's where the balance comes from.
So the balance is different then.
Yeah.
And most people want work-life balance, but they don't even know how they would know they had it. Yeah. How would you know you've got work-life balance?
Do you think it comes from a sense of happiness and sort of fulfillment? Because I think sometimes if you go too deep into work, and again, it's easy to do, you kind of, you start to feel like burnout. You start to notice when you're tired, when you can't really focus, I think sometimes, when you
don't enjoy things you'd normally enjoy,
I was going to say
that's when I see the burnout.
Yeah. When you struggle to enjoy stuff, that's the real one.
What I have is that, what I will also say about these boundaries, right? In order to have the boundary, you've got to look forward to the boundary. So there's no point in seeing me, I'm finishing at 3, what for? Because I said I'd have work-life balance. I finish at 3 because I get to train jiu-jitsu at 10 to 4. I'm looking forward to that because there are things that I love more than work.
Yeah.
So I finish on a Wednesday early because I get to pick my daughter up. I finish early on a Thursday because I get to pick her up from singing. Like, I like that. And then I get to take my son to rugby. Sometimes I fit jiu-jitsu in between. Sometimes. Yeah. Depends. It depends. But then the days where I'm saying, okay, that's the boundary, I'm not just stopping. I'm doing something that I like even more than work. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I've got to look for, so a lot of business owners don't like having days off. I'm like, well, what do you do on the day off? Well, what's your plan for the day off? Of course you're not looking forward to the day off then. You've got there's no reason for you to have the day off. Yeah. This is how I got off the drink, mate. I realized that I like drinking on a Friday because I look forward to it. And I was like, when people try and stop drinking, they just stop drinking. There's no other plan. I'm like, what are you going to do instead? Just not drink. I'm like, so all you're going to think about is drinking then. You've got to have something that you look forward to even more. So I just created a life that didn't have room for booze anymore. Yeah. My life is so exciting and there's so much stuff planned in that it does look exhausting, but it's all exciting. That there's no room for, there's no room for it to fit. There's no room for booze to fit in. There's everything that I'm doing. I would say 99% of things that are in my diary, I'm looking forward to.
Do you feel like you've got your work-life balance nailed then?
Nah. I'll say that it's always evolving.
Yeah.
Yeah. I probably do more fulfillment than I'd like to, so I don't have much flexibility on a Wednesday. I'd like a bit more flexibility on a Wednesday. And I want to go through this phase now where I want to try and finish at 12, 3 days a week, so I can train jiu-jitsu at 12. Because now, I don't like training jiu-jitsu early because I'm fucked the rest of the day. I don't get anything done. But I'm starting to notice that when I train jiu-jitsu at 6 on a night time, which is quite rare, I'm fucked by the time I get there because I'm getting old, right? I have a challenging day. So I'm trying to, that's the next evolution of me work-life balance.
Yeah.
I think eventually I'll have more life than work. And that just, again, I don't think there's a finish line to any of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. I don't think I'll be doing what I'm doing now forever either. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll go stand up full time. I don't know. I'm not saying I am, by the way. Maybe I'll just do something completely different. I'm fine with that. I think this whole thing of we have to have it all figured out is what keeps a lot of people stuck. When people I haven't found my purpose yet. I'm like, well, is coaching men my purpose? Well, right now it is. But who knows? That might change. Yeah. When you were talking about your kids before, the hard thing about them being 4 and 7 is it is difficult because you're not into the same things. When my son started liking football, I was like, let's fucking go. When he started boxing, I was like, let's fucking go, son. Yeah. There was a period where actually I'd go to the football with my daughter. My son didn't come.
Yeah.
And then he started coming. She was like, oh, I hate football. Basically, she wanted me to herself. So now we do different things, like go to the theatre and that. But yeah, it's when they get a little bit older and they start to be into what you're into, work-life balance is easy because now it's not me that wants to go to fucking. It's not me that wants to come back from Dubai and then go to Sheffield Wednesday that night away. It's not me that wants to go there, Leslie. It's not me.
Doing it for kids.
What, you want to go? You've been away for a week and you want to go away tonight again? I'm like, it's not me that wants to go. It's him.
I'm hanging out.
Leslie, I did not want to go to the UFC. I know the tickets were 350. It wasn't me. It was him. He was begging us to go. He said I didn't love him if I didn't have him.
Well, I'm hanging out for that day when my son really is into his football. Took him to his first away game for York.
Oh,
we were up in Hartlepool at the weekend. And, he needed a piss, so I missed the only goal of the game.
Shit,
and,
well, at least mate, I remember my son first started going. The first away game I took him, it was Accrington Stanley, and he said, "Where's the roof?
Yeah,
where's the seats? Because they didn't have seats. It was standing. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And then the problem I've got now is he just wants to go to games all of the time.
Yeah,
which I'm like, fucking. I love that you like football, but fucking slow down, son. Come on, man. Yeah, it was Leslie's birthday in May, and he was going, Dad, I've looked on the calendar. Real Madrid are playing Barcelona that weekend. Mum's birthday weekend. Shall we go? And I was like, no. Why? He didn't understand why we couldn't go. He's mental. Because it's your mum's birthday and she doesn't like football. Yeah.
Have you been to Madrid, Barcelona yet?
We've been to Madrid, but not against Barcelona.
Oh, yeah.
That new stadium is...
Oh, you went to Atletico?
No, the new Madrid stadium.
Oh, right, okay.
They've upgraded
it.
It's where the pitch comes away in that.
Right.
Unbelievable.
I've seen a picture of that, actually.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. We went to the match, and it was a great match. They played Girona. Bellingham scored 2. Sensational game. And then the next day we went to the stadium tour, and they were a track on the pitch. I've never seen anything like it. Sensational. Yeah. Then we did the Atletico tour the day after.
Right, yeah.
Class.
No, I took my dad over to Madrid. We watched Madrid Barcelona.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, this was when it was Ronaldo and Messi.
Oh, mate, that is a fucking...
And I think it was...
That's something that you'll never forget.
4-3 to Barcelona as well. It was a hell of a game, so that was amazing.
Shit,
yeah, I know.
We went, the last one we went to, that was like a special one, was we went to the Milan Derby a couple of weeks ago, which was brilliant. But that was intense. Yeah, very good.
Yeah,
very good.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, I know I want to wrap up soon, mate, because I know you're conscious of your time, but I want to speak to you about your goal setting method, because this is the F5 method. Is that still something that you use?
Something that I use,
I mean, I've been using this for a long
the
time,
F5.
And I think that the phrase that you use is, you don't want to be a one-dimensional douchebag.
I still use that.
Yeah, but again, that hit home with me.
Yeah.
Because during the bodybuilding years,
that was the only thing. Yeah.
Tunnel vision, right? Yeah. And then you get into business and it's like, I've got to make my money. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you do need to set goals in different areas. So, the F5 method, you're setting goals in family, fitness, finance, fun, focus.
Yeah.
And it really does make you think about the whole picture of life.
Yeah.
So, I just wondered if that's something.
And it's because I came up with that concept. I blatantly stole it from Wake Up Warrior. They had the core 4, which was body, being, balance, and business.
Yep.
Their being became a little bit religious. And also there was no fun. A lot of those guys, I'm like, fucking hell, mate, relax a bit, man, have a bit of crack. Do you know what I mean? I like a bit of banter, me, so I put fun in. Because I'm like, what's the point in all of this if you don't have a fucking great time?
Yeah.
There's no point having a big business if you don't have a good time. So we built out this F5 system. And like you said, mate, there will always be one that takes over a little bit.
Yeah.
And if you're a business owner, let's face it, it's probably going to be business. It probably is, because we value it highly. That's all. Doesn't always mean we're one-dimensional. It just means we value it highly, or we wouldn't do it. But it also, I don't think it's an excuse to let any other area of your life go.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, we talked about Andrew Tate before, and he made a video. I didn't agree with it all, and he was a bit of a dick, and I haven't said anything about it really, but he talked about, like, if you come to me with a business proposal and you're obese, it says a lot about where you're at with your standards. And I was like, I kind of agree with that. Don't fucking post this clip, by the way. I'll make my own clip, right? Where I can explain me. But you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, well, why? If I'm, and again, it's judgmental as fuck, but that's what we do as people. If you got a successful business, you're fat, you're out of shape, you never get laid, you don't have any fun, you're a miserable cunt when you go home with your kids, and you spend no time with them, the successful business is irrelevant. There's no point in having a kingdom if there's no one in the fucking castle. Like, and the castle's fucking lonely, right? So the F5 system is just a design, it kind of supports the whole thing. So finance takes over. That doesn't mean you can let your health slip. We've all done that. Just because you're working on your business doesn't mean you should let your relationship slip. Doesn't mean you shouldn't have any fun. So it's just building out that whole thing, mate. And I think that's changed a lot of people's lives. And the more I work on those 4 other things, the better my business gets anyway. My business will only grow to the level that I can comfortably handle. My business will only grow to the level that my relationship, my marriage can comfortably handle. My business will only grow to the level that my relationship with the kids is at. My business will only go to the level that I can physically handle. And my business will only go to the level that the fun part is about kind of loving your life. So it all fits hand in hand, mate. And that whole concept changed my life, 100%.
Yeah. It certainly made me look at, so I'm like, once Christmas is done, you've got that week between Christmas and New Year, and I love setting goals at that time, right? Yeah, and that is the first thing I do, and I've got the notes in my phone.
Yeah.
And it's every year.
Do you know what I love doing that? I love doing that. And this is mad. I love setting goals not in the environment that I'm normally in. So I hate that time of year. I'm like, we go on holiday. We've gone on holiday that week every year. You're talking 7 years now. Yeah. Every week. I just love getting away then.
Yeah. It's a great way to start the new year.
It's just a great way to start. A bit of sun. Yeah. Usually I like to go on the 27th so I can go to a match on Boxing Day. Yeah. Boxing Day football's class, man. Innit? You know what it's like? It's class, man. Everyone gets dressed up and that. Everyone gets on the sesh. I had a turkey on my head at the last one. Blackburn away. But yeah, so we like to go on holiday on the 27th, but the process of setting goals somewhere where you aren't normally are is just so fucking powerful, man. And I just like to go a year in advance and then I break it down into quarters. That's it. Sometimes I go, actually, I'll tell you the truth. Right now I have goals that are 3 years away. Mostly experiences, to be fair. And then I break it down to a year. Okay, in 12 months, how will I know that I'm a third of the way towards that? And then I'm like, okay, how will I know that I'm a quarter of the way towards these yearly goals? That's the way that I work. Yeah. And it works, and sometimes new things get added in. Sometimes I'm like, actually, no, I'm not that bothered about that. Sometimes your body tells you. So, for example, this is mad, I got offered a fight on that Misfits boxing, and I wanted to do it. I went back to train. I felt fucking great. I was like, it's like I'd never been away. I was fitter and sharper. And I hadn't boxed for years, but then my fucking elbows fell apart. So I couldn't take it. So now that goal just went. And I'm okay with that because I put another one in. And you know what's mad about all of the goals? I never hit them all. Someone was looking at me goals, you're there, Paul, you've set too many goals here. I'm like, yeah, but I'm okay with not hitting them all. Like, do you think if I've got 20 goals the year, do you think if I hit 17 of them, I'm all right? Of course I am. Because I'm not a perfectionist. Like, I don't think that's such a thing, by the way. I think that's a cover-up for I'm a pussy. But I'm not a perfectionist. Like, I'm okay with those failing because everything's progress, right? Yeah. My brain is happy when it sees progress. Progress is progress. Perfection is impossible, a low standard, in my opinion.
Yeah. I like that, taking yourself out of your normal environment to go and set goals.
It's so cool. Imagine if you're flying back on Emirates or something, or you're in fucking... Dubai's not for me anymore. Imagine you're flying back. We've been to Egypt the last 2 years. It's been great. I'm in Egypt, and I've been somewhere I've been in the desert the day before riding camels and shit. And then I'm in this really nice hotel, and I'm setting goals there. Or even just the flight back is a beautiful time. Yeah. No distractions, right? You've got a few hours to plan in a different environment. You're being on holiday. You're relaxed. You're not fucking full of stress. You're not full of fucking hell. You're not feeling as fat as you would if you stayed at home. You're not constantly having people trying to get you to drink, but that environment is totally different to set goals, and you set things that you probably wouldn't think of if you were at home.
I got a friend of mine, Adam Lowe. He used to run a boot camp in Leeds, men's boot camps.
Leeds.
Yeah.
I was there the other week for that game when the Beat were there, by far the best team in our league, by the way.
Was that the last
when the Beat were 2-1? Yeah. They scored 2 in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It would have been daylight robbery if we would have won that, by the way. They're by far the best team in the league.
But he was doing that at first with the boot camps. He's now moved online, and but when he was doing the boot camp, he's absolutely killing it now, like thousands a month. He's living over in Dubai at the moment. Okay, but he would go to Dubai for 2 or 3 days on his own. Yeah. Train at the nice gyms, eat at the nice restaurants, be surrounded by all this wealth, and create this environment of like you said,
abundance. He was already there.
Yeah, exactly. And he would sit there and just plan and strategize and train and eat and
just get you to think differently. Because here's a mad thing that I learned off Dr. Joe Dispenza. Right, you think about this is really weird. Your mind is an artifact of your past, but if you think about, I'm in this room now, and everything in here is from my past, even you, and I'm trying to create a new future surrounded by things from your past. It's really interesting, that, isn't it? So if I'm at home, there's all around me is things from my past, but I'm trying to create something in the future. So going somewhere where I'm not used to being, going somewhere that's different, so going somewhere where I could see myself spending more time in the future, for example, something that I could end up buying in the future. Fucking hell, I opened a hotel last year. Not a Dubai level hotel, a 9-bedroom thing, but going in that environment, I'm trying to create a future. So why would I be surrounded by me past? It's a very interesting concept. Yeah.
Well, look, I'm going to wrap up with them. I've got 2 more to go. I always ask these 2 at the end. So, if you would go back to day 1, do it all again.
Yes.
What would you do differently?
Nothing. Here's the only thing that I think about. So, obviously, I've done a lot of work on myself, and I'm like, well, everything that I've done has led me to here, and where I'm at right now is cool. There's a few things that I just wish I would have started sooner. Jiu-jitsu being one of them. Podcasting probably being one of them. Hiring a sales team being one of them. getting a building like this. There's so many things, and that's all it is. There's nothing. I wouldn't really do that much differently. I would just start sooner, but ultimately I started when I started. So think about the people that are further ahead than us.
Yeah.
The only real difference is that I started before us.
Yeah.
Someone that's a black belt of jiu-jitsu, they're better than me because they started before me.
Yeah.
Not because they're a better person. Sometimes not even because they work harder. They just started before me. That's all. Someone that's got a bigger following on social media, usually they started doing videos before me. They started, do you know what I mean? Sometimes you'll get the people that pop up really fast. But we all want, and I think about this fairly often. We think about Chris Williamson's level of success on a podcast. We said it before.
Yeah.
I'm like, he started a long time ago. 3 a week for fucking 7 years or something. Like, and then we're like, well, why am I not making progress? So the only thing I think about is I wonder what would happen if I'd have started sooner. Yeah. And that's it. Everything else, even when I fucked up, let people down, fell out with people, made a decision that I'm like, you know what I mean? Told someone to fuck off.
It's brought you to where you are today.
It's brought us to where I am today, so there's no point in regrets of fucking completely wasted energy. So the only thing I consider is that, you know what? If I'd have started sooner, I'd be a bit further ahead.
Yeah.
But even then, maybe I'm not ready to be further ahead. Do you know what I mean? Maybe I'm not ready to say, yes, Joe Rogan, I'll come on your podcast. Like, if you ask me right now, maybe a bit, oh, fuck, I can't. I've got something on my schedule. Haven't got enough freedom to say yes to that yet. Maybe.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I'm where I'm at. If I was further ahead, I might have got there too early. Do you know when people say I wasn't ready for it? Maybe that's why I started when I started.
Yeah. And last one. So if you could only pass on one piece of advice from all your years of coaching, what would that be? It
would be easy for me to say do what you said you would do, but that's too easy. It would be attention is the currency of transformation. So if I'm looking to transform, the first thing I've got to transform is where I place my attention. What I think about, what I talk about, what I ponder on, what I ask questions about, what I talk about, what I read about, what I write about, what I watch, what I listen to. It would be that. That's the number. If we're all looking to transform something, even if it's a little improvement, we're all looking to improve, feel a little bit better. That's a small transformation. And attention is the thing that determines whether it happens or not.
Yeah. Brilliant. Well, look, we'll call that a day, mate. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you so much.
Mr. Mort and Mr. Universe, come on.
Thanks so much for listening. Please remember to like, share and subscribe. And if you need any more information on the Transformation Programme, just hit the link below.